Welcome to the podcast today. I'm pretty excited. I've actually got my first youth guest on here, which is a kid
Yeah.
who I don't know, he kind of inspires me. He does. We met each other probably a year ago or so it's been, and he works at our local gym, Tony Lupo, and he's a pretty incredible kid. He comes from a background of, well, he went to Western schools in our local community here. And he went through the Jackson firefighter EMS program at Career Center and was a volunteer firefighter for about 4 years. And just a pretty intelligent young man. We've had some great conversations, I guess, in the past, even at the gym and coming up to the office here. And now I finally got him on the podcast today to hopefully talk about his past, kind of what he's dealt with in life, and just to get a grip on like what kids nowadays really go through and deal with. And it can be tough a lot of times for a lot of them. And I don't know, it's pretty cool to see Tony and his attitude, his mentality, everything he does. And it's nice to have him on here now instead of a pastor, so I'm not walking on eggshells.
There you go. There you go.
Because it's pretty exciting. And everyone knows my opinion, and in God's eyes we're all not worthy. Sometimes you get around people who make you think that they are worthy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But no, Tony, tell them a little bit about your past, I guess, and what you how I don't know, I guess just who you are.
I don't know. I don't know how to do a background.
How many siblings do you have?
Siblings. I have 8 siblings.
Okay, now how old are you now?
I'm 21. Yep.
Okay, 21-year-old man. I remember, and this is what's exciting to me too, is even when me and Tony get to talk, or I hear about his weekend adventures and everything. And
Yeah.
I can't give you any grief because what I was doing at 21, you're way more established than I was at that age, I should say. So, maybe enlighten some kids on I don't know, your attitude, or it's pretty cool to see he's got it together. He makes mistakes and knows it, like every kid, like all of us have. But
Yeah. I mean, we all make mistakes. I don't think that's something we should shy away from. I think the only thing we can try and do is learn from those, right? And you're not going to grow until you actually start putting that into motion. Like, okay, yeah, maybe over the weekend I did something I'm not too proud of, so I'm going to make sure I don't do that again. I'm going to make sure I correct that behavior, not only to help me with my mentality on my day-to-day, but help me get closer to God, right?
yeah, that's good too, because we've talked about this too in the past before, and it's like Tony has it too, because in business or even at work, as professional as he is, he works at Planet Fitness here in town, and and I know he wants to be a personal trainer and stuff, but one thing we've talked about too in the past is that he's professional. Like, you can tell when he talks, you can tell. I mean, I know in the moments you get with your friends, or you got to be a certain way. I know I can be a little just one way all the time, and I'm trying to learn a lot still. But I noticed that with Tony, that you're pretty professional until you walk in here and start playing Pac-Man.
Hey, I love Pac-Man. You can't ever. Yeah. So my whole thing is like, I never realized it. It's always like, you're a figure, even if it's not your super influential person around town. You're a figure in your friend group. You're a figure to certain people. So hold yourself with pride, with respect for not only yourself but for others. Obviously, I'm not saying go out and act like a total Karen all of the time, but hold yourself with pride. Just so you come off as, I don't want to say confident, but
I know what you mean. Yeah, you're proud of who you are.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to have that shame or anything.
Obviously I've made mistakes. I'm not proud of everything I've ever done, but I'm proud of how far I've come. I'm proud of what I've gone through and how I've overcome that. And obviously I know in the grand scheme of things, I've had it genuinely pretty easy.
Yeah. And I guess a big thing, like I tell a lot of kids too, I mean, even if I'm talking to them or doing something, it's like, I think the biggest thing we struggle with as human beings, we're always trying to satisfy someone else, or we're worried about what the world's thinking about us, or this or that. And it's like my key to finally getting my life together was like I opened my Bible, I turned to God, some leaders, and some pastors, different things, and I learned how to live for God instead of living for this world and everyone else. And but the one thing is, like, even if you want to change people for God, and just like you don't even probably know you're doing it a lot, but I just see it in your attitude compared to what I was at your age, because I was a person that God probably would have been better off taking off this world. I mean, the influence I was given and what I was doing, and that's what makes me like proud to know you. And I thank you for what you do, because it's I don't want to toot your horn here or nothing, but I mean,
Sure.
it's like it's a good thing. I know you still have your fun, you do what you do, but overall in the big picture, like you're a good influence
I
probably for
appreciate that.
a lot of people around you. And it's like I say, and I'm just here to encourage you, and I think that's what a lot of leaders in the community need to focus on and realize with a lot of kids, because I think what they do is they shame them, or they
Yeah. Oh,
they,
yeah.
they talk down on them or whatever. And like you said, I know I mean, you're going to do what you do. You're 21 years old, and but the thing is, like, in the big picture, you're a good kid.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. But what I mean, you can tell me too a little bit about, like, I know just some tragic things you went through, and stuff you experienced, and you don't have to talk about all that, but just like coming from a broken home, I mean, different things and old past relationships. It's like that's what kids are dealing with
Yeah.
now, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
It definitely is, like, going to the broken home, my parents they split up when I was in 5th grade, and then immediately added a bunch of siblings to my family. So it was a huge adjustment. And I don't want to talk bad about my dad, because I love him. He really did try his best for what he had. But once that my step family came into the picture, it really felt as if he had dumped us, me and my other sisters, for my step family, which that it happened. It's in the past. So I had to learn how to, I guess, be my own man, right? I didn't have, he never wanted to get his hands dirty, so I had to teach myself how to change my oil, tires, work on things around the house here and there. If I wasn't teaching myself that, I had guys at the fire department teaching me how to do that, right? So it wasn't until later in life, or quote unquote later in life, I'm only 21, but it wasn't until recently, I should say, that I had learned how to support myself truly as a man.
Yeah. And you might not know it too, but believe it or not, I mean, I'm always, in a good way, always got an alter motive and things that how I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a plan, and how much you've taught me, it's pretty crazy, because my kids, my own boys, they're 11 now, 18 and 20. In this same situation, I'm the dad there, like you dealt with, because I
Sure.
have my fiance and her 3 kids, and then my 3 boys, and the oldest 2 are 18 and 20 now. But even the youngest one, the 11-year-old, I know that feeling's there for him, and it's like, and believe it or not, I mean, when we first talked, when we'd have our heart to hearts, and we'd talk about things, it's like, I'm learning from you. I am. I'm learning, in all this situation, and to make sure now, because I was I mean, my past when I was a lot of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't always great for my kids. So that's where, even in a situation that people, I guess, leaders or people in influential positions, they get to a point to where, I've got it all figured out, and I know everything, and it's like, I can learn from every situation. I can learn from everybody in my life. And when you understand people, you understand their feelings, just like me down here working with homeless or kids or youth. It's like, until you have a one-on-one relationship and you get to know them, you don't know what they're feeling.
No.
You better show some sympathy, or show some love, really. I mean,
Yeah, I like to walk around day to day. Like, one of my base rules is, like, everyone's got their own stuff going on. I know I have my stuff. The person next to me, they might not be having a good day at all. It's already 6 a.m. I'm at work. I just got there. That person may have been there for 2 or 3 hours working out already, or they're just getting there. Their day might already be going awfully. So I like to treat people with as much kindness as possible. You know, so I get yelled at. I'm not going to try and raise my voice. You know, stay calm, diffuse the situation. They'll eventually realize, not saying that they're in the wrong, but they're yelling at you for something either that's out of your control or you, like, regardless of what it is, they'll eventually realize, like, hey, he's not at fault here, or even if he is, it wasn't with malicious intent. So we'll back up on the reins, have a civil discussion about whatever it is.
And see, that's where you're awesome. And that's amazing, because if you look at the kids now, and I mean, my son's going to come on the podcast tomorrow, and we're going to talk, because he had something that really, really got me yesterday when he was at the house and we were talking, my 18-year-old, and he actually was talking to me about Dad. He's like, I can't wait till school's done this year. I'm just done with this. I'm ready to get out. I'm like, well, what's the problem? He's like, everyone needs their safe place. He's like in society, he's like, and to see you get treated like crap, and if you wanted to be like a lot of other entitled kids out there your age, and think that when the world's against you or somebody upsets you, it's like you go run in a hole and you hide. It's like, no, the world's going to test you. And God, I believe God tests you in a lot of ways. Yeah. And it's like you just said, that's the thing, is to have what kids need to know now, and what you might not even know. I mean, you're showing them this, but it's like, to have, I know you're going to have troubles or problems, but it's like to have a foundation. When you have that actual foundation in God, that strength in Him, you like me, I mean, you can't let things upset you. My past haunts me. It just haunted me this last week, and an incident. I mean, and it could just discourage me and cause me to go straight away from everything I'm doing, from what certain people say. Yeah. But it's like I focus on who I am with God, the patience, like you just said, that honor, that integrity, everything that's the whole point in this whole ministry here, and even why I get people on the podcast, or get you on the podcast. I'll call you a kid. You're an adult now, but I mean, you're a young adult, but it's like you have that mentality that you won't always play a victim. I mean, and that's the biggest thing.
No, and I think it's important, right? Because, I mean, sure, in some people's eyes, call it what you want, I haven't had an amazing life. I haven't had an awful life either. I've been very blessed. And that's one thing I try to remember. It's like I'm still very blessed for my situation, right? So I try not to judge other people, regardless, race, religion, creed, gender identity, whatever it is. I'm not going to judge you. You do your own thing, right? Like, I may not agree with exactly what you're doing. I may not agree with your beliefs, but at the end of the day, you're not going to agree with mine. So there's no point in butting heads when that person you're butting heads with could be a very good friend at the end of the day. You could learn a lot from that person if you just set your differences aside. One thing that gets me, I love about God, but also is something I think has stigmatized the Christian religion, is people like to pick and choose what scripture they follow. Amen. Right? I have.
So who's right? That's the question. And nobody can answer that. I mean, it's like even all the pastors I get in here, because I can go to 20 different churches, listen to one pastor's sermon, and even I can have a different take on what he's saying.
Exactly.
And then another pastor can have a different take on it. And then it's like, who's right? And then I believe the one who's right is the one who, like I always tell everyone, I don't have the end answer. No one has it.
Yeah, and that's something that gets me is, for example, gay bashing, right? Like, it's a stereotype that all Christians hate gay people, right? I mean, that's not true. You see it in the churches, you see it, and the Christian faith doesn't have a great past with that. Yeah. With the camps to convert.
Well, what they do is what Christians and churches do. They, like you just said, they pick and choose.
Exactly.
And regardless, no matter what, and I don't know the end answer to this. This is some like theology I've been getting into and studying too, is because a sin is a sin.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean, me judging you for being gay
Yeah.
is just as bad as being gay.
exactly.
I guess in a way.
It's if I was to come up to you and